What's going on? It's 7 o'clock. One half of Sloppy Sundays, one half of FNL, brought to you and presented to you by the Fantasy Football Network. I am partnered up with the esteemed, the sexy, the slightly bigger bin of Fantasy Shotcallers, Kyle from Boom Bust. What's going on, brother?
Oh, not a whole lot, man. I love that.
Yeah.
We still got his logo up here, but I'm not from Shot Callers. I am from Boom Bust.
There you go.
But man, I'm glad to be here. I'm excited to run through these games. We had kind of an interesting day, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It wasn't at least for me. It's looking. Monday's going to be crucial. We'll see what the Chiefs can do with the Giants, but let's get into it. Shout out to the Fantasy Football Network. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. It means more than you guys realize. Happy Halloween. We got Carolina at Atlanta. Sam Darnold's not that guy.
No,
just straight up.
No.
And I think if you have DJ Moore, it's time to sell quick.
Yeah, and that's obviously for redraft. He's still a strong dynasty hold, but DJ Moore, between Sam Darnold and PJ Walker, I just don't see him doing a whole lot the rest of the season. Very unfortunate. Maybe when McCaffrey comes back, it helps a little bit. Maybe, open him up just a little bit if they have to respect the run a little more because Hubbard's not doing great. You saw even today Abdul and Freeman getting quite a few carries. So, I think if I'm in redraft, I'm probably trying to go ahead and trade him while the trading's good. And honestly, after the last few weeks, it's probably not even that good anymore.
Right. Like the peak to move him has passed. Hopefully, your owners out there can get something done, but it's not looking good. The thing that was sustaining him was the volume. It's like he would only have, 7 receptions for 60, 70 yards, but it was on like 13 targets. Now that he's getting 7 targets, Darnold's not hitting 100% of his throws with him. So
yeah, he would be 4 of 8 today.
Yeah. Dark times are coming. 4 for 59 yards.
Yeah.
That's not going to cut it. On the other end, it was kind of ugly as well. Matt Ryan, 146 and a touchdown, 2 turnovers.
Yeah. Matt Ryan looking rough right now.
Yeah, man. This was just an ugly game and it's unfortunate because there's a lot of fantasy implications with Pitts, and then we had Ridley with the mental health.
Ridley, the surprise out inactive.
Yeah, like
right
an hour
before the game.
Kickoff.
That was tough for a lot of owners. In fact, I went and grabbed Russell Gage in the Vegas league because Ridley was out, and he didn't even have a target today. So, weird day for Russell Gage, know. And then, like you said, Pitts, 2 of 6 for 13 yards.
Yeah.
Patterson did all right, 5 of 5 for 37 and TD receiving.
Yeah.
9 for 35 rushing, but Patterson's the only one that did anything today.
Right. What's going on, Mr. Sarcastic? Got that dub. Number 5 team heading up against the number 2 off the back. AJB, Michael Carter, Najee Harris, Aaron Jones. That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. You got rich people problems. Michael Carter. I'm mad I gave up Michael Carter now.
Yeah, dude, I've been, especially in my Dynasty League, I've been super bullish on him all year. Everybody kept trying to get him as a throw-in on trades. And I'm like, no, I love this kid. And today it paid off. Obviously he's not going to get 30 points every week, but I really think he's a talented kid. And if they improve that team around him even more next offseason, he's going to be a pretty solid guy. Yeah.
Led the FBS in yards per attempt last year with, I think, the 4th or he might have been 7th or 8th in total attempts in college football last year, but still led in yards per attempt. He's going to be a problem. They got Elijah Vera Tucker from USC in the first round after they got Wilson, and then they got a guy Beckham, Becton maybe, who's hurt right now. They're slowly building that offensive line, man. If they go offensive line again this year, watch out for Michael Carter. It's like you said, dynasty especially. Moving on. You know what? Let's tackle it. Let's go Cincinnati, Miami. No, sorry, Cincinnati, New York Jets.
It's too bad Ben ain't here to brag about his Jets, right?
I know.
You know he'd be like doing cartwheels and dancing and stuff, probably.
Hey, don't lie to the folks. Don't lie to Mr. Sarcastic Scene Ben. We ain't doing no cartwheels.
Dude, I tell you what, I can't do no cartwheels either. But if the Cowboys ever win a Super Bowl again, I'm damn sure gonna try it.
I like it. I love it.
It'd be the most awkward, painful cartwheel you've ever seen. I guess this was kind of a Super Bowl game for the Jets.
Yeah. Hey, man. Nobody had them. What do they call those leagues where you pick the team to win like it's a guaranteed win? This might have been one of those. I don't know what they're called. You know what I'm talking about?
Like an eliminator.
You get like 100 people and you just got to pick one winner, but you can't pick the same team.
Yeah, like an eliminator or a survivor.
Yeah. Hey, some people lost a lot of money with the Jets beating Cincinnati.
Everybody would have been on the Bengals in one of those for sure.
Yeah.
They looked good early, and then they just fell apart. And the Jets came back and took care of business, like on the back of Michael
quarterback
Carter.
Play.
Michael Carter and Mike White. Mike White looked really good, but Burrow. I mean, Burrow didn't have
a 3. Yeah,
not a terrible day for Burrow there.
Yeah. I'm concerned about Mixon.
Yeah, Mixon, and I know Tony's been off Mixon all year. If you watched anything with him on it, I like Mixon because he's a Sooner guy,
Yep.
But he's not. Their offensive line is too bad at run blocking.
Yeah,
and if you fix that, Mixon's going to struggle.
Yeah. And, I mean, in addition to him not really staying healthy, and I feel like they know that, so they have him almost like on a snap count. Kind of like how Saquon started the year, where they were giving him like 15 touches, like that was like a maximum. I feel like Mixon is almost on a snap count, but it's like they're just trying to get him through the full season without like missing a game. So they're not giving him 25, 30 anymore. They're just going to give him like 16 touches. And they're fine with Samaje. That's another Sooner, right?
They actually were together at OU and now back together at Cincinnati, and I love that.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I didn't realize they were there at the same time.
They were in the same draft together and everything. It was so it was exciting when Cincinnati signed P. Ryan. I was like, bro, we got the duo back together.
Nice.
P. Ryan only had 2 catches today and no rushes, so. Last week, P. Ryan was a little more involved, and then back to not so much this week. Mixon only had 14 carries, 4 catches on 5 targets.
Yeah.
Mixon with a pair of touchdowns, though. Of course, the Jets is the best matchup in the league for running backs. But I agree with you. I think they're trying to keep him healthy and kind of leaning on Burrow and those receivers a little bit more. Tyler Boyd had a great game today compared to what he's been doing. And I know last night on FNL, Jeff was talking about how he's been trying to trade him and couldn't. And so he might have accumulated a little bit of trade value today. So we'll see.
What's going on, Pig? How you doing, brother? That's Piggy.
Yeah, Piggy. What's up, dude? He's loving the costume there.
We got T. Higgins, man, not getting enough love and enough respect. Prior to this game, so the last 2 games, he was averaging 14 targets a game, and Jamar Chase was just having those 80-burger, 70-yard touchdowns. But Jamar Chase didn't have an 80-yarder this week, 3 for 32 and 1. But
still got in the end zone at least.
Still got in the end zone. But Higgins, 4 for 97. I think Higgins is someone people should start targeting as a flex play.
If you got him, get him in your flex. I know Tony's had him on the sell list for a couple of weeks now on Wall Street because their schedule just gets redonkulous down the stretch, difficult. So he's been selling him. But honestly, the way Burrow and Chase and these guys are talented, I might be selling Mixon after this one, sell high on him.
Right.
But these receivers, I might be trying to get rid of Boyd. I have to sell high on Boyd if I can. But Chase and Higgins, And like you say, Burrow's playing really, really well. I don't think I'd be selling him myself.
No, I'm all in on Higgins. I would try to get him in multiple leagues if possible. Bill Belichick owns Herbert. He does. He does. I have Herbert and Brady in one league, and it's only one quarterback. It's not a super flex, and I started Brady. Just he has something mental, and you know what Belichick does? He gives you like that little compliment, like, oh yeah, he's a nice, wondrous kid. He's gonna make multiple Pro Bowls. He's gonna, and the whole time he's scheming like, yeah, he's not. You shouldn't start him this week. That's what Bill Belichick is. You translate, it's like Southern slang or twang, or what's my man from King of the Hill, Boom.
Oh, Boomhauer, yeah.
Boomhauer. It's like
don't start that dang old guy right there.
That's it. That's it. That's Bill Belichick. Justin Herbert's
for real, man.
Broke a lot of rookie records. So I'm shutting his ass down. Do not start him in your league lineup.
Exactly.
When he ever says that, whenever Belichick compliments you, that guy's not going to do well.
You ain't doing shit that week. Like, you might as well stay home.
DJ Moore or Mike Williams. Ooh. You want to get that one? I'm going to set up the live on IG.
Yeah, we were actually talking about this a minute ago with DJ Moore. Sam Darnold's looking terrible. PJ Walker's obviously not any better. If you can sell DJ Moore and get good value for him, I definitely would. I wouldn't be trying to move Mike Williams yet. I don't think there's any issues there with that. Keenan Allen had a better game today, but they're going to switch back and forth a little bit anyways. Yeah, I wouldn't be trying to get rid of Mike Williams, but DJ Moore, I think if you can get decent value for him, I'd go ahead and move him.
Yeah. I think I'm in the same boat. The volume just isn't there. Still a solid wide receiver too. I would lean towards him. We got a Mike Williams vote. Mike Williams had a really rough day today. Since we're talking about Bill Belichick and Mike Williams, you want to head over to that was in San Diego, not San Diego. They don't play in San Diego anymore. That was in LA. What do you got?
I have a hard time breaking that San Diego mental block also. Just like I do with the Raiders in Vegas. Like I always.
What's like the over under? Is it like 3 years? Because I at some point I finally stopped calling the Rams St. Louis.
Yeah, that took a while. While. I'm actually real quick. I'm getting this. I forgot to go through when we went live to hit how I'm embedding again on the YouTube side. So I'm doing that right now. If you want to start off with that New England game real quick while I'm doing
let me pull that one up. What do I have? Did I not put that one down? I know I did because I wrote down Mac Jones. Oh, there it is. My water bottle. Trying to multitask. What's going on, Krusty? What's going on, Complicated? Mac Jones, 218. That's not going to get it done. Damian Harris had himself a day. Looking like a little over 140 yards and a biscuit. I'm not mad at that. Nelson Aguilar was their best receiver with three for 60.
I was going to ask you about this.
Let's talk about it.
Since you just said it.
Yeah.
I saw you and Ben kind of talking about it on the last one at the beginning. Biscuits are touchdowns?
Yes. Yeah. Shout out to
I've heard them called biscuits. I was like, fuck is that? Like
shout out to my homeboy Luke Eala. That's one of my good friends that's like deep into fantasy, but he's got a tribe, so he don't have time for content. He's got a family to feed, and then he goes.
So he just feeds you all this goodness, and you bring it to
us. So that he came up with that maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, and it's just something that we say. And then I started saying it on boot camp, and now Piggy's saying it, FloJo's saying it. Eventually, you're gonna be saying it, and it's.
I kind of love it, and I'm a fat man, so I love me some biscuits. So it's a double.
I'm trying to get that UK audience where we do tea and crumpets and biscuits. That's it. That's what they call cookies. They don't call cookies. They call cookies biscuits.
I know.
Like an Oreo biscuit.
Because you're not dipping those biscuits in gravy, right? So
no, I'm just trying to help Fantasy Football Network grow for our London fan base for those London games. That's all.
There you go. I know we send them the crap teams, so we might as well let them have some good content on the side, right?
There you go. Herbert 223, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. It's not gonna get it done. Austin Eckler, really productive on both ends. He had an Eckler-esque game.
Yeah.
Like 130
He
and a biscuit.
had 10 targets receiving, 6 catches for 60, but 10 targets. He was the second highest target share on the team today, behind Keenan Allen with 11.
That's where Mike Williams' targets went, and that's kind of what people expected for this year to go. But for whatever reason, it hasn't gone that way. And Mike Williams has really gotten a lot of Austin Eckler's, because a lot of people are down on Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen's not getting the touchdowns, but he's still getting the target work.
Absolutely. I love Keenan Allen. He's a stud. But like you say, a little bit of touchdown issues. Diggs was having touchdown issues early in the year. He's getting that turned around a little bit. So
yeah,
touchdowns are hard to predict, hard to keep. That's going to fluctuate from year to year. We got a mascot in the house.
We got young 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah.
3.5. That's great.
You say happy Halloween?
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
I love Fantasy Football Network. Okay. Good night. Have a good one. Oh, yeah, it's 10:20. I'll be in there in like 40 minutes, and then I will put you down.
Hi, Olivia.
Hey, Kyle.
How's it going?
Good. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Sorry about that. Now we're back to business.
Oh, good.
Keenan Allen, man. Someone you shouldn't give up on, in my opinion.
I agree completely.
And if their offense is reverting back to what we expect it to be, he's going to be that guy. Eckler's going to be that guy. And Mike Williams is the one you'll be winning the trade. But we'll see. He always gets hurt. And I feel like he was hurt, and that bye happened at a perfect time. So we'll see if his body can sustain the full season.
Oh, that's what Biggie was saying over here in the chat, too. He's waiting for that injury. So, yeah, I agree with that. That injury is most likely coming for sure. But,
where you want to go next?
Keenan Allen's one I've been bullish on also. I wanted to jump back over to the Patriots for a second there. And
let's talk about
it. It was very interesting to me. So, last week, Ramondre Stevenson, healthy scratch. J.J. Taylor, 2 touchdowns. Today, J.J. Taylor, healthy scratch. Stevenson, active. What is Belichick's problem, and why does he hate fantasy football so much?
You know what it doesn't matter to me. It just don't matter. It's all about getting a W. He don't care about nothing but that W. Man.
Don't trust no dang old rookie running backs.
Don't trust no running backs, man. Damian Harris is probably the only one you can trust, and he is still.
Even he makes me squeamish
from time to time. I mean, you miss a block, you're a healthy scratch the next week. You fumble, your touches are cut in half.
Even if you score 2 touchdowns, you could be a healthy scratch. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I always avoid his running backs, man. I mean, even going back to what's my man from Virginia Tech that was nice for like 1 year, and then the only person you could really trust was Ben Jarvis Green Ellis. That was the only person.
The law firm, and then Blunt had a year or 2 there where he was okay, but that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Man. It's just. 1 week it was Burkhead, 1 week it would be James White, and then, it's just, you just can't trust. You can't trust Bill Belichick and running backs. Or at least you can go in, at least know what you're getting into.
Right.
Lower your expectations.
I tell you who else is very disappointing for me today was Hunter Henry in that matchup.
He got
1 catch for 33 yards. Like, I really expected a better day from him. It's also, I'm very disappointed on the season overall of Jacoby Myers. I really expected him to be more involved in that offense, playing that slot role that, in that offense. But he's just not getting it done, not getting touchdowns. But like today, he only had 4 for 37. He's not even getting yardage anymore.
No. Mac Jones is really, really safe. I like to think of him as like maybe Chad Pennington, just safe, not gonna win you, not gonna put you out. Maybe even Alex Smith. You know what I mean? It's like he's not gonna wow you with his arm. He's not gonna throw you into a game. He's not gonna throw you out of a game.
Yeah, he won't throw you 4 interceptions, but he's not gonna throw 4 touchdowns either.
Yeah, right. It'd be like a one-off where it's like 4 touchdowns, but he still had under 300 yards. You want to talk about Philly and Detroit? Since
I was going to say, Biggie talking about Gainwell over here. I have a bone to pick with Philly.
Oh,
dude, I had Hurts starting in a couple of leagues. I had Gainwell in a couple of leagues. And they screwed me over for Boston Scott and Jordan Howard. What is that?
You know, I almost went on the line and had Boston Scott as my media deep. Shout out to Jeff Clark and the media team. I almost had Boston Scott as my like someone you should add, or like my sleeper media pickup, waiver wire pickup of the week. Because if you looked at when Sanders went down, the touches were pretty fair, and he got the goal line touchdown. And everyone was all on game. Everyone's just been on the Gainwell train all year. And outside of like week 1, week 2, it really hasn't been there. Maybe I think he had a spot week 4 instead of week 2. But like week 1, people tend to grasp onto these rookie running backs, and they want them to work. They want Javonte to work so well, but it's like, do you know how difficult it is to pick up blocking assignments and be that extra blocker on blitzes? I mean, that cost Ramondre a full week of work,
Right. Yeah.
So I think people want Gainwell to succeed so well, or maybe to be the guy that said that he was that guy. But if you looked at the stats last week, because we do this show, I looked at the stats and I'm like, Boston Scott might be that guy. I know I expect 2 touchdowns and to lead them in rushing yards, but I'm not too surprised, man. I mean, he's a rookie running back.
I mean, yeah, I figured, though, that Gainwell would get quite a bit of work. Not a single target today in the passing game.
No.
That was shocking.
Attempts, though.
And then 13. Jordan Howard, 12 for 57 and 2 biscuits. Like, what the? Why Jordan Howard?
Yeah. And it's like, okay, so Boston Scott gets 12 touches. Howard gets 12, or not 12, but carries. And then you give Gainwell 13. And it's like, where did Jordan Howard go? Maybe they're just trying to preserve the health. They don't want to – they're taking that Baltimore approach where they just can't afford to lose any more running backs. So they're like, you get 8 carries. You get 8 carries. It's like Oprah, where it's like everyone stays under 12 touches, and our defense and Lamar will take care of the rest.
It was weird. Like, this was the game that Miles Sanders drafters were waiting for, and he wasn't available. Yeah. But, Scott had 12, Howard had 12, Gainwell had 13. They act like this is the first game all year they've ran the ball that much.
Right.
So Sanders owners are crying themselves to sleep. Jalen Hurts, 9 of 14 for 103 yards.
He's starting to get exposed.
7 rushes for 71 yards. He's not a great passer, and he really wasn't when he was at OU either.
No.
He tucked and ran more than anything.
What was the reason he got benched for Tua, and they still ended up winning that national championship versus Georgia?
Yeah, and he's not a Kyler Murray type runner either. He's not real quick. He's kind of a lumbering,
long stride,
big runner. Yeah, like he's not super quick. So, he's like it's like Cam Newton without the arm. Like
yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, that was a frustrating game for me on the Eagles side, for sure.
We'll move on. I won't harbor on it too much. Pittsburgh at Cleveland. Ugly game. A true AFC North. Game of Thrones.
Old school defense. Yeah.
15-10. There are no winners in that game. The bright spot would be
Najee Harris.
130 plus, total yards and a biscuit. I was offered Deontay Johnson for Julio straight up before the season started, and I just wasn't sold on Johnson. And now I feel like, now you can't get them all. You can't. No one's batting 1,000 in the fantasy football realm, and that's probably one of the biggest trade turndowns that I've had all year.
Yeah, I can't remember them all right now, but I've had some like that where you're just like, dang it.
Right.
Najee with a good day. Freiermuth was a decent fill-in at tight end today for
Andrews
and Waller's owners.
Yeah, Baby Grunt did his thing. It's kind of what you expect from a tight end, 4 for 45 and a biscuit. On the other end, Chubb didn't really have the day that we thought. Maybe he's still not healthy. Oh, that defense, that Pittsburgh front seven is pretty nasty too.
That Pittsburgh defense is tough, and I know, like Tony and Jeff, we were pretty much all off of Chubb because we knew that the defense was tough coming off the injury. You didn't know what Dearness Johnson was going to do, how they were going to split those.
He got the goal line touchdown, or he got the touchdown.
But the problem is with Chubb is you don't have a better option to start. So, like, even though we were like, yeah, he's not going to do well, it's like, who are you benching him for, right?
Right.
You can't do it. So he probably hurt some lineups today, but that'll improve. He'll have better matchups going forward. And now, like, he looks like he made it through this game healthy and no setbacks. So, you can start him with confidence going forward for sure.
Yeah. Jarvis Landry was the bright spot with 5 for 65, offering like a little bit of flex play, especially if you're in full PPR. Yeah. What a lot of people are talking about, which I don't even get why. If you know football, Browns are better without Odell Beckham Jr. 1 catch for 6 yards. He had 6 more yards than you and I did today. I think they'd like to trade him, but he's making like $18-20 million a year. So I don't know. And I think
that's a lot of money for 1 catch for 6 yards.
Dude. One caveat is he is going to be an agent next year, so I don't know if what they can get for him. I mean, what's the value on an Odell? And then, like, if you're New Orleans, do you pull that trigger? Because I feel like they don't have any receivers there. I know they're waiting for Mike to come back. In taking him, that it's a 1-year rental because it's not guaranteed unless you want to put the tag on him, and he's not worth the franchise tag.
He's not worth the tag. You'd have to be pretty desperate for receiver help. But also, like, they're not going to get more than maybe a day 3 pick. Maybe swap him for
a 4th rounder, something.
Like a reserve defensive player or something. Like, they're not going to get anything spectacular for him. So maybe get a washing machine and a bag of Doritos for him. I don't know, but they're not going to get much.
Yeah, I'd like for him to go to New Orleans and maybe see what they can do, because the NFC is just so difficult, and they're probably going to be a wild card team realistically.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe they might win the division, but it's just rough. There's so many. I mean, Dallas, Tampa, Cardinals, Rams, Green Bay. There's just killers.
I saw a stat before this week. I'd have to do the math on wins and losses to see what it is now, but coming into this week, the NFC had the top 7 records in the league. Like, it was crazy.
Right. So the Saints probably being the number 6 or 7 best team. Why not go try to, see if you can recapture that flame of Odell and pair him up with King Slant, Michael Thomas, who should be back in like a week or 2.
Maybe.
So yeah, we talked about Philly, Detroit. I got to start crossing these games out. Indy, Tennessee. Does that work for you?
Yeah. Derrick Henry had a rough day.
Yeah.
Tennessee pulling out the win in overtime. That was a pretty exciting game. But yeah, Henry had a rough game. 28 carries for 68 yards. You hope for more than that from him.
Right.
He did go to the sideline, a little hobbled at one point kind of early, but he ended up coming back. So I don't know if that affected his performance for the rest of the game or not. Seems like it could have. And then you got A.J. Brown with a monster performance, 10 for 155 and a biscuit. I'm probably only going to use that term on here with you. But
that's fine.
But it cracks me up now. But huge target share, 11 targets for A.J. Brown. The next highest was 5 by Swaim and Johnson. So, it's A.J. Brown is back. Last week, this week, he's crushing it. He's back. Nothing to worry about there.
Yeah. Kudos to you if you were able to pick him up in a trade, because he's looking like the second best receiver for fantasy football, not named Cooper Kupp, or the best not named Cooper Kupp, and the safest right now, at least within these last 3 weeks. On the other end, Michael Pittman Jr., man, someone I was big on, and I when I first got into this fantasy stuff, I was writing with Piggy, my brother Piggy, and I was doing the playoff matchups and just pretty much doing exactly what we're doing, but I was writing it down and typing it and saying like what I saw in the games and what moving forward what that might mean. And I said if they got a competent quarterback that didn't check down to the running backs all the time, that Michael Pittman could be like a stud flex player. And now I watched a little too many other pages, and I got so scared to draft him from what me watching the Colts lose. I think they lost in the first round of the playoffs to September, late August when I drafted. I completely got cold on him, and what I saw in January, he's doing now.
Yeah,
when you do that.
I was high on him last year, and it just never kind of came to fruition. And then this year, he just fell in a weird spot in all my drafts. He would fall I'd think, he'll make it to the next round, and then he'd go, and you're like, crap. But I love me some Michael Pittman. 10 of 15 today for 86 and 2 biscuits. That's a good day.
And that's following up the game he had on Monday night.
Yeah.
In the rain.
Sunday night. So this kid just keeps getting better. He's got a bright future ahead of him. As long as they got competent quarterbacks, they can get him the ball. But I guess that's the same with any receiver.
True.
For being honest.
Very true.
Yeah, I like Pittman a lot. And you've now officially missed your window to get him cheap if you were going to trade for him.
Yeah, that's him and AJ are both whatever.
That window is shut tight now.
JT, not a bad day.
Pretty good.
Pretty good day at the office. What's going on, Tim's Fantasy Tips? We got you want to move to San Francisco, Chicago?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's see. Jimmy G. Just not the guy. I really don't trust that whole situation. Debo is a must start if Jimmy is the quarterback. I don't know what type of chemistry they got going on, man, but I didn't think Debo was going to have the year that he's having, even without a touchdown.
I didn't either. I thought Ayuk was going to be the guy this year. I drafted him. Me and Corey both drafted him in several leagues as such, and we know how that's turned out.
Right.
But the surprise gift of the year from the fantasy gods is Elijah Mitchell. unless you drafted Sermon, then not so much. But
this year's James Robinson, when healthy.
Yeah, totally.
At least so far.
He doesn't get the receiving work that Robinson got or gets.
Right.
But yeah, he's a waiver pickup. He's a high 2. Running back.
When we did our Wednesday show, I didn't even mention him as a waiver wire pickup. We all agreed that Cordell Patterson has been the best waiver wire pickup, but yeah, Elijah Mitchell looking good.
Yeah.
Can't say anything
very good.
negative about him.
If he keeps this up, stays healthy the rest of the year, Sermon will never stand a chance in that offense,
especially with Jeff Wilson coming back.
Yeah, because early on I expected, Mitchell might have a couple games for some reason. I was like, maybe Sermon's having some trouble learning the offense or, whatever. But Sermon just doesn't look as good when he runs the ball as Mitchell does. And Mitchell's crushing it. So as long as he's got that backfield by the throat, Sermon don't stand a chance.
Sermon's body type doesn't really fit like that type of style of run. He kind of looks like that running back from Alabama that played for Jacksonville. I think it starts with a J. He was drafted in between Mark Ingram and Derrick Henry. He was like the bridge back. He played for Jacksonville for a couple of years. I'm blanking on his name. Anyway,
the two that come to mind that flopped from there were kind of Eddie Lacy and Trent Richardson. Those two were.
This guy, his name starts with a J, and I'm just blanking on his name. I'll text it to you later. But he just doesn't have the build, kind of like Denard Robinson from Michigan. They had him as like a little kind of flex. He's just not. Guys like that can't play running back. And you look at Sermon. Sermon's built like eye test. You look at him. He looks like he still looks like he has his college body. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
He needs to bulk up a little bit and develop a little bit of dog. Hang around Zeke a little bit or something.
Well, and he was at OU before he went to Ohio State and had the year
Right.
that he had last year. I was a little surprised that he had the year he had last year at Ohio State because when he was at OU, he was good, but we've always got one of the, best offensive lines in the country. We've always got a Heisman candidate quarterback and
Right.
all these receivers. CeeDee Lamb was there and stuff, like not last year, but the year before. And
Right.
so I had, he did well, but I never watched him and thought, oh, he's going to be a great NFL running back.
Right. And I
You
think
know,
that's
so-
more of us as fantasy football analysts clamoring to those rookies, man.
Yeah. Everybody's excited about their rookies when they first come out, and sometimes it just don't work out.
Yeah, or it just takes time to develop. But Mitchell is a rookie. I mean, they took him 2 rounds later than Sermon, and they look
Yeah.
like they may have found their guy. I think they can let Mozart walk.
I'd seen a handful of people right after the draft saying Mitchell could be the guy over Sermon.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, there ain't no way. They take a guy 2 rounds later and he's going to start over Sermon. And here we are.
Yeah. Debo did well on the other end. Man, I thought talking about Ohio State, I thought Fields was going to be better. I mean, he's still early, so you can't. I'm falling into that trap of trashing these young quarterbacks before they even. But I thought he'd be better, further along than where he is right now.
Yeah, I agree. He definitely got thrown in there before he was ready because of the injury to Dalton. But
Right.
Today there was a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel versus every game he started so far.
Yeah.
He had 10 rushes for 103 yards and a touchdown. Like that extra part of his game is why they drafted him so high. Because if you add that, and if he can develop that passing game more beyond 175 yards and a touchdown,
right,
then he could be very, very dangerous. Like that's Lamar Jackson rushing numbers. If you can get the passing game on par with that also, he could be very, very dangerous. I think that's going to come with time. And I think it's also going to come with maybe a change in coaching staff. I don't think Matt Nagy's the guy to get him where he needs to be.
Yeah.
But, barring that, I think just time will kind of get him where he wants to go.
I like it.
I expected a better game for Khalil Herbert.
A lot of people did. That probably screwed a lot of people. Kind of came back down to reality a little bit. The bright spot, Mooney, 6 for 64.
Pretty good.
Counterpart, the guy who they should look to trade this deadline. Maybe he could get to the Saints. Allen Robinson, 3 for 21.
Robinson, I feel sorry for him right now. I really do, because he's a talented receiver and he's being completely
wanted out. They wouldn't give him an out. They franchise tag him, and then he's on pace for 500 yards.
Yeah,
and now he's in the market as a free agent. Like, sign me.
Yeah, and somebody will, and they'll pay him a lot of money, and he'll have a great year next year. But right now, they're wasting him even worse than Jacksonville did before he went to the Bears.
Yeah,
it's so sad.
If you can get a third rounder for him, because he's a rental, unless you want to tag him or you want to sign him to big money.
Now him as opposed to Beckham
Odell
would be worth a higher pick like that for sure.
Right, third, fourth. You're only getting them for half the year or 2/3. What's going on? Aaron.
Aaron. Messed up now, Aaron.
You messed up now.
We always joke around because Corey's middle name is Blake and his son's name is Blake. So we're always like Balake.
I love it. I'm gonna start calling him that. My bad.
Fantastic.
This game was a lot closer than I expected. Rams at Houston.
Well, to be fair, the Rams got up 38-0 and put in all their backups, and then the Texans started getting some points on them.
Gotcha.
Luckily, the Rams were able to hang on and not let them come all the way back. I imagine if they'd have been threatening with a little more time left, they might have put their starters back in, obviously. But, Darrell Henderson was benched for a quarter and a half at the end of the game because they were so far ahead,
Why risk it?
So Sony Michel ends up with 9 carries. Cup with another great day, 7 for 115 and a touchdown. Ben Jefferson just keeps outproducing Woods, aside from, Woods had a touchdown or 2 touchdowns today. But, Van Jefferson playing really, really well this year.
Someone worth maybe stashing for another kind of crazy bye week if you got injuries.
Yeah, not a terrible option if the matchup's right, but I think he's a good stash in Dynasty as well. Because it almost seems, I was talking about this with Tony the other night, and it almost seems like they're grooming him to take Wood's spot maybe long-term as the number 2. So they're getting him a little more involved now. Now, I don't know if that's the case, but that's kind of what it feels like.
Kind of molding him to take over.
Yeah. So something to keep an eye on there in Dynasty.
Interesting. Other end, no one's starting Davis. Running back situation.
You can't start. You talk about
Lindsey.
Houston.
You can't start DJ. They had a guy who laid them in character whose name I didn't even know was on the roster.
You can't start any of the running backs right now. They got a 4-way split with Burkhead, Phillips, Lindsey, and Johnson.
That's right. It's Rex Burkhead.
There's 4 running backs at 4, 5, 3, and 2 carries respectively. That's just, you can't rely on that at all. Everybody said Johnson or Lindsey would carry it, complemented by the other, and then all of a sudden here comes Phillips and Burkhead out of nowhere, getting more carries than each of them.
Right.
And so, too frustrating, not productive enough. Houston sucks. You can't. They're not even worth rostering.
Brandon Cook's the only one who's not consistent, but he'll probably finish as a very, very, very high end, or I guess low end. He'll probably finish as wide receiver 22, 23. 6 for 60. No, I'm sorry. 6 for 83, and that's all garbage time. Garbage time works for fantasy,
Absolutely. I'll take garbage time all the time. Cooks had a pretty decent day today, but I'd be trying to buy him low before Tyrod comes back. When Tyrod was playing, this kid was targeted relentlessly. He had the largest target share on his team in the league before Tyrod went down. So if you can get a hold of Cooks before Tyrod comes back, you got a high target, high opportunity, high upside guy right there that can get you a lot of fantasy points on the weekly.
I like it. That's a strong and that's a really good take. Unfortunately, Kevin Piggybank Picks has him in 2 of my 3 leagues that I'm in, so I will only have one person.
Stealing from him.
Yeah.
Piggy earmuffs.
Right. Buffalo, Miami. Thought this was going to be a blowout.
That one had my blood pressure up a little bit.
Yeah.
I had in, of course, you're starting Josh Allen, and Diggs had a decent game. Moss and Sanders were the 2 big disappointments for me in that game. I really expected Moss to have a better day rushing against Miami.
Yeah.
And then Sanders, 4 targets, no catches. That's tough.
That's rough.
That's really bad. Zach Moss did have 6 catches for 39 also.
I was going to say that.
It was a heavy receiving game. Usually you don't see that kind of receiving from Moss, but
no, he salvaged flex. If you're playing him, you're probably playing him as your flex. He salvaged today with that 6, especially if you're in full PPR. He probably gave you barely 10, 11, which is not much you can. That's pretty much you can get.
He got me 11 and change.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Diggs 5 for 40 and a TD, and then Beasley had a good day, 10 for 110. Big Beasley day. But Josh Allen ended up doing all right by the end of the game, but he had me concerned early. And then Sanders, that's a tough pill to swallow on Sanders, though.
Yeah. Do you trust Stephon Diggs moving forward?
Absolutely.
Outside of that Monday night game, he hasn't really given you return on a top 15 return. I'm not talking about receiver. I'm talking about top 15 draft pick. Last year, I think he had like 120 receptions, and it's just that volume is just not there. I had him as my wide receiver 1 this year over Tyreek Hill and it was like 1A, 1B, and 1C. Like if you had your wide receiver 1 as one of those 3, I couldn't make an argument with you. If you're like, oh, DK is going to have a crazy year or Hopkins is going to have a crazy year and I'm taking Hopkins 1, we could have a debate. But I had Diggs as a top 3 in a separate tier above everyone else, and he's just not giving that return on investment at all.
Yeah, he's had a little bit of a slow start. The last couple weeks, he's gotten back in the end zone. Well, not last week. He was on a bye, but the week before he got in the end zone. This week he got in the end zone. They still have a really good schedule, and they still throw the ball a ton.
Yeah.
So, next week they got Jacksonville, then they got the Jets, and they got Indy. New Orleans could be tough. New England could be tough. Then you got Tampa Bay, Carolina, New England again, and Atlanta. Like, that's a really good schedule.
Yeah.
He's going to have plenty of opportunity. I am not worried about him. Like you said, they throw the ball a ton, and he is an elite receiver. And they do have a really good – it feels fluky that he's not gotten in the end zone more.
Right.
Last year he had a lot of touchdowns, and that kind of helped bolster his numbers even more. But, I think he's going to be good going forward. If you have a chance to kind of buy low on him, I absolutely would.
I don't trust anyone on the Dolphins except for Waddle, and he had a very, very pedestrian game.
Which we kind of knew he would against the Bills. Their defense tough.
That's true. Devontae Parker had a 8 for 85, but most people didn't play him. Gesicki probably got played in a lot of leagues, and 3 for 48. That's not going to get it done. Gaskins, 36 yards receiving, 3 for 19. I can't trust him week to week.
No, although he got more work than I imagined considering the matchup today.
Right. True.
I really expected him to get phased out early, and they kept going back to him, which is kind of promising. In easier matchups, that means he may be more productive. Seems like with Malcolm Brown on IR, they're leaning on him a little heavier. So, and I think some of that might have been game plan: run the clock, run the ball, try to keep Josh Allen off the field, which is really smart.
Right.
I mean, it kept the game at 3-3 going into halftime, which was shocking. So, I'm sitting there at halftime going, what's wrong with the Bills? My Bills players. So, I was getting the shakes. I was into shock.
You almost sound like Paul Bearer when you said that. Instead of my Undertaker, he said, my Bills players.
My Bills players. Yes.
My mighty Bills players. Jacksonville at Seattle.
Bird up here for Halloween. We could have done the full.
Oh, man. I have to wet and perm my hair and maybe put on some baby powder. Give me a little bit of Villalago. And I'll flip my hair up and do the Undertaker.
All right, next year. That's Halloween plan.
There it is.
Halloween goals.
Now, which Undertaker? Are we talking American bad? Are we talking demonic with the brood? Or are we talking?
Yeah, with the robe and the goatee.
Right. The Colt. We just talking.
I kind of like the original one with the big gloves,
the
mascot, and big old ascot on.
Great baseball socks.
Yeah, exactly.
Done. Say less.
Next year,
his
hashtag Halloween
outfit
goals.
looked like an actual like a Spirit or like a Walmart costume.
Yeah.
That Undertaker costume was like a original like mock-up was at like a Walmart or like a Salvation Army. That was a horrible costume.
It really was. Oh my god.
Seattle at Jacksonville at Seattle. James Robinson heard he went down. I didn't see it.
I read it. Yes, he got hurt. I think it was an ankle.
Man, everyone losing an ankle this year.
Dude, ankles, calves, and hammies are big this year.
Yeah.
A lot of leg injuries going around. Something going around the league. Some sort of pandemic. Oh wait, I shouldn't say that word. But something in the water that they're handing out to these players every week, I guess.
Right.
I did want to point out Jamal Agnew for Jacksonville's continuing his kind of mini breakout here. 3 games in a row. Pretty good receiving numbers, really good target share, which breaks my heart as a Marvin Jones owner, that he's kind of taking that away from him now.
Yeah.
But Laviska Shenault continues to
You got to drop
disappoint as
him.
well.
1 for 17. Just straight up drop him.
Yeah.
If James Robinson is missing any time, Carlos Hyde, without a doubt, the guy, the next up.
He's the guy, but what is that worth, right? Like he had 9 for 32. He had 6 catches for 40 yards. So he's targeted heavily in the passing game.
Maybe flex appeal. He can't be your RB1 or RB2 like James Robinson might be on some teams, but maybe some flex appeal. I don't know how much fab you put on it or if it's worth using the waiver wire. I guess the length of the injury would determine what.
Yeah, and we'll get more information on that tomorrow, I'm sure. He'll be running all kinds of tests tonight on that ankle. I'm pretty sure it was an ankle, but whatever's wrong with him, they'll be testing it all night, and I'm sure we'll have a lot more information on that well ahead of waiver wire. So,
yeah. Geno Smith only targeted two receivers. He had 195 yards, and 165 of that went to either Lockett or DK.
Yeah, so, and you guys
got to target your talent.
We've all been off of Lockett until Russell gets back. And then today, he's just force-feeding him the ball.
Yeah.
Just laser focused on Lockett. And it was just like, bro, what is going on? And then you get in the red zone. He's like, Metcalf. And I was like,
50-50. Yeah.
So, it was like, the running was all over the place. Collins had 10, Homer 4, Penny 7. But, yeah, dude, he was laser focused on Lockett today. And I don't know if it was just he had a really good matchup or if they were just really – if he's been, complaining not getting the ball since Russ went down. And so they – the squeaky wheel gets the grease situation. So the game plan to get him involved more this week, which is very possible. Lockett's a bit of a prima donna, I think. So most receivers are, I think. They don't get the ball. They whine a lot.
Yeah.
But, Lockett with a really good day that I didn't see coming. I figured Metcalf would have got that kind of target share today. I hope for it anyways.
Tampa Bay, New Orleans. Brady, 375, 4-2. You'll take it. No one's going to turn that down, though. Even with those 2 picks, you'll still take that.
That was such a weird game because it was like the second to last drive that Brady had. He turned it over. And then they turned it over again at the end. Like, he made just uncharacteristic mistakes for Brady that cost him that game. And, I didn't get to watch it. It wasn't on in my area. And so I didn't get to see if the interception was, his fault, if it bounced off his receiver's hands or what. But you just don't see Tom Brady-led teams making mistakes like that. So it was very, very weird to see Tampa Bay basically blew that game against the Saints. But Trevor Siemian coming in for a hurt Jameis Winston also played very admirably, carrying that team to that victory.
Yes. No receiver had over 38 yards for the Saints. That's why I was talking about Allen Robinson and Odell. If you can get Odell for a 5th, maybe just do it. If you can get Allen Robinson for a 4th, get it done. Because I don't care who the quarterback is. And Michael Thomas is only going to do so much. Because last year, right now, compared to last year, they had Jared Cook, they had Emmanuel Sanders, and they had Michael Thomas. All 3 of those guys are gone. And Callaway's Hail Marys are only going to help every 4 games,
I was going to say, you can't – I know everybody was high on Callaway coming into the season, myself included. I drafted him in several leagues. I can't trade him for free now because he's so unreliable, so inconsistent, so unreliable. And so, he's been kind of a disappointment. But, maybe getting Thomas back helps him some too. So We'll see how that works out.
Leonard Fournette, not the greatest day. Chris Godwin had himself a day, 8 for 140 and 1. Evans, I always love that Evans-Lattimore matchup. Probably one of them. And then Lattimore DK is probably number 2. I love that matchup. But yeah, Mike Evans, he almost had a DK day, 2 for 48 and a biscuit. So we'll see. We're almost up to that hour mark, and we got 2 more to go. We really don't have much to say about these 2 games, so to be quick. Washington at Denver.
Washington and Denver. Washington did the same thing that the Bucs did. They blew that game, turning it over at the end. Gibson and Patterson had more carries than Gibson. I don't know, because Gibson didn't have an injury designation going into this week.
Yeah.
Yet he still split with Patterson, which makes me think either one, he's not as healthy as everybody wanted him to believe. If maybe he aggravated it, maybe they're just putting him on a pitch count to keep him healthy for the rest of the season.
I have 8 carries for 34, 8 receptions for 83. So he had 100 over 100 yards. No,
Gibson had 3 receptions for 20 yards. McKissick had 8 for 83.
My bad. I'm tripping. I'm thinking I have McKissick in the league, and I don't know. I missed my stat up. Gibby. He's got a shin splint. It's only going to go downhill. I don't know how he got traded for him and Marvin Jones got traded for Swift. It was the robbery of any league that I've been in this year. And I do leagues where trades don't get vetoed. If you can't hold your own, then you don't belong in a competitive league. So that one kind of ruffled the feathers a little bit. Swift for an injured J-Rob and Marvin Jones. It's not a good trade.
And Gibson, if that shin splint's still bugging him, I don't know how they take away the injury designation. I don't think it's had time to heal with him still playing.
Yep.
So I'm not sure how that's working right there. May end up with a Washington fine for that.
Yeah, right. I mean, he's willing to go out there and play, but take the 3 weeks off to let the shin heal, go on IR, or just be mediocre and play injured and slowly. He's got an apple in his shin, and he's just slow roasting that puppy. And eventually, at the end of the season, he's gonna have a season-ending injury that's probably gonna cost him next year.
Yeah, that's the fear for sure. Especially, I got him in a dynasty league.
Ooh,
going to get him healthy.
Not a whole lot from Denver. Teddy, 201. Hopefully, you didn't start him. Javonte Williams still not producing at the level that people. I saw this guy go 4th, 5th round in a lot of leagues, and it's kind of starting to look like a bust. If he doesn't score a touchdown, he's not giving you any help. Tim Patrick.
He was much more involved, Javonte, in the passing game last week.
Yep.
Than he was this week. Gordon got the bulk of the carries, had more catches, and did more with them. He's more efficient with his carries. Gordon was. One upside is it looks like Jerry Jeudy is back and healthy. As far as we know, no setbacks there, so should be able to start him going forward. I wouldn't say starting with confidence. Washington is a fantastic matchup. He was 4 for 39 yards, so this offense is kind of tough to get behind right now.
Yeah, I agree. They need a quarterback.
They do. Bad.
They need someone who
they need Deshaun Watson.
I feel like Mac Jones is just going to be a little bit better. A mixture of Alex Smith and Teddy Bridgewater. Bridgewater, 213, 1 touchdown, no interceptions.
Yeah.
They got a narrow win. He did his job.
They need Deshaun Watson, but I think, and Corey mentioned this the other day, they're probably just sucking it up for this year and holding out hope for Rodgers next year.
Maybe that was
Rodgers wanted to go to there this year,
right? Maybe
I think it was the only team he was interested in going to. So maybe one other, but I could see Rodgers ending up there next year if he doesn't end up on the Jeopardy set.
Yeah, I can see it. Don't be surprised, Russell Wilson.
You don't think Russell Wilson be in Seattle next year?
I don't think.
I don't know what his contract situation is, but I know he's got some time left on it.
Yeah, I think he's got, after the season, he'll have 3, and I think he might be at $35 million right now, which would have him at being like maybe the 5th highest paid. Pat, Dak. I feel like there's one more that has Deshaun Watson. So he might be the 4th or 5th highest paid quarterback right now. Maybe going like 35, 38 against the cap.
He's like 32 years old, right? Something like that.
That sounds about right. So he's for quarterback years, for Tom Brady years.
You think they'd trade him though?
I think he wants out. We heard like the rufflings this offseason, right?
Yeah.
I believe it's gonna come full circle. And I think they can get a lot. I mean, the Bears offered 3 firsts for him.
They could get a lot for him. Now that they're seeing what people are offering for Deshaun Watson.
Right. Now you get a Christian man.
What are you giving for someone who's not in trouble, has won a Super Bowl?
Right. Hey, 3 ones. Maybe you send. Do they have Surtain? Surtain was their rookie.
Yeah.
Because Horn went to Carolina.
Surtain went to the Broncos, I think.
I can't remember.
I can't remember either. It wasn't Dallas, which we wanted one of them, so that pissed me off. But
you got one. It looks like you might have got the steal in the second round.
The two corners we wanted went the 2 picks before us this year. Yeah. But
you guys still got a good linebacker and a hell of a corner. Probably got defensive rookie of the year.
Micah Parsons is crushing it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I guess we can jump down to this last game now.
Yeah, since we're talking about Dallas.
How about them Cowboys? Cooper Rush getting it done in that defense. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Dude, I fully expected the Vikings to just bend us over a barrel tonight, and the boys came to play. They came to play.
You know what's crazy? You guys are one questionable pass interference call to Chris Godwin from being undefeated.
Yeah, that was a horrible call.
A horrible call, right? You guys were one bad
horrible call.
Yeah, like you guys could be undefeated right now, which
we lost by 2 to the defending Super Bowl champion.
The Tom Brady suspect flag. So he gets it done. Zeke, not the best day, but that Minnesota defense can show up when they want to. Both receivers looked good. Both over 100, both over 6 receptions.
Yeah, and honestly, I did not expect that. We got a lot of questions this week on if Dak's out, do we start Cooper? Do we start Lamb? And we all were on no. Start anybody else you got. But, dude, I wasn't expecting Cooper Rush to come out and play that well. Very pleasantly surprised with that. So, if you did start him, good for you. If you didn't, I apologize.
Yeah. On the other end, Kirk Cousins, 184-1. Justin Jefferson, jeez.
I started Cousins in a couple of leagues this week.
So did I.
Because Dak was out and didn't do what I thought he'd do.
No. I think he might be like 1-10 as a starter on primetime.
Yeah.
Like
I really expected him to do much better tonight.
Thielen salvaged it with the touchdown, 6 for 78 and touchdown.
I did call Thielen being probably the best receiver matchup for the week, though. I didn't think Jefferson would get shut down quite so badly.
No.
3 for 21 for him. That's a rough night for Justin Jefferson. That'll be his worst game of the season, I promise you.
Maybe career. 2 for 21?
Yeah, 2 for 21. Yeah. That's tough. Conklin had 5 for 57. What?
That's rough.
Cook had a pretty good night, 18 for 78. No biscuits, no receptions for Cook. So not his best effort either. But at least he got you something. Yeah, Jefferson, Cook, man. They Cousins. Disappointing game for Minnesota players if you started them this week.
Any thoughts on tomorrow's game? KC, New York. No defense.
I think it's going to be a better game than people are expecting just because there is no defense.
Mm-hmm.
And the Giants are getting Tony and Shepard back. So I think it's going to be a pretty high-scoring game, and I think it's going to be closer than people are expecting. Because, like you said, neither one of them have a defense. If you're needing a tight end fill-in for Andrews or Waller, it's too late now to play anybody else, but Ingram is probably a pretty good fill-in there. I think Darrell Williams has a good game tomorrow for the Chiefs also.
Then all the usual stuff. I think Booker could have a decent game.
He could be okay. I'd rather have Darrell Williams, I think, though, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, for sure.
But
that offense is going to be in the red zone a lot more.
Right. So, yeah. I think it's going to
Cool.
be a pretty good game.
Man, thank you guys for tuning in. This is a special spooky Halloween. I'm 7 o'clock in Snorlax. This is Kyle from Boom Bust. He came as Ben from Fantasy Shotcallers. Or no, this is Ben from Fantasy Shotcallers dressed up as Kyle from Boom Bust.
Yes, I'm in a fat suit. # fantasy is life. Benny Buckets.
We appreciate you guys tuning in. Take care. Please like, subscribe to the Fantasy Football Network. Tune in tomorrow for, I believe, the Panic Room.
Panic Room right after Monday Night Football. Panic Room.
Oh man, I didn't know you guys were still in here, dude. You guys didn't have any questions for us? No, nothing.
Just watching, hanging out and watching, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Hopefully you were entertained. At least I would have done more if you had known you was here.
I might have done some dancing or something, you know.
Something. All right, man. Take care. Happy Halloween, everyone. Take care.
Happy Halloween, man. Love y'all. Appreciate it.
That's dope. He was in here, man. It's like him, the beat.